What would your life look like if fear no longer had a voice? Not silenced for a moment, not managed, tamed, or negotiated with, but erased, gone, dead. Imagine waking up every single day without hesitation, without second guessing yourself, without that internal whisper telling you you're not ready, not worthy, not enough. What decisions would you finally make? What doors would you kick wide open? What dreams would you chase with reckless, unstoppable fire? Because the truth is, fear isn't the enemy. Surrender is. Fear is natural. It's primal. It whispers and it warns. But it only wins when you obey it. And every time you believe it, every time you shrink instead of stepping forward, you trade power for comfort. You give up growth for safety. You stall. You suffocate. You stand completely still, not because you're weak, but because fear has convinced you that stillness is survival. But not today. Today we expose fear for exactly what it is, a liar, a story, a shadow pretending to be solid. And today we bury it, not with feel-good fluff or empty hype, but with truth, with discipline, with practice, and with a purpose far greater than your excuses. In the next few minutes, you're going to learn how to stop running from fear and start hunting it. You'll learn how to stand tall even when your hands are shaking, how to move before the fear fades, and how to build a mind so sharp and so disciplined that fear finds no room left to live. So take a breath, step forward, and don't look back, because this is the day you kill the fear. Let's establish something clearly. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is instinct. It's ancient. It's wired into your biology to protect you. And in many ways, it has kept you alive. But what fear was never designed to do is lead you. It was never meant to be your guide, your advisor, your decision maker. Yet that is precisely what most people allow it to become. They hand fear the wheel and then wonder why their life feels like it's spinning in circles. You feel fear when you're about to do something unfamiliar, something risky, something that threatens your comfort or your control. That's not weakness. That's your brain doing exactly what it was built to do. But here's the truth most people never hear. Fear itself is not what stops you. Inaction is. The real enemy isn't the fear you feel. It's the pause you take because of it. It's the opportunity you don't pursue, the silence you choose instead of speaking, the dream you shelf for some other time that never arrives. Most people are waiting for fear to disappear before they take action, waiting to feel brave, waiting to feel certain. But that moment never comes, because courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is action taken in spite of it. If you're waiting to feel ready, you will be waiting your entire life. The ones who move mountains, change industries, make history, they feel fear too, but they walk forward anyway. That's the difference. That's the edge. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to stop obeying fear like it carries authority it never earned. Fear can sit in the passenger seat, but it doesn't touch the wheel. Not anymore. And here's where it becomes powerful. The more you move through fear, the smaller it becomes. Every time you act while afraid, you teach your brain that fear doesn't mean stop. It means this matters. It means step up. It means you're standing close to something important. Repetition rewires reality. The more you face fear head on, the less grip it holds over you. You become someone fear cannot live inside because you trained your mind to move before fear can settle in. So the next time fear rises in your chest, remember this. You don't need less fear. You need more movement. Don't analyze, don't overthink, don't negotiate, just move. Because fear hates momentum, and the moment you act, the fear begins to die. Fear is a master storyteller. It crafts lies so believable, so emotionally convincing that they feel like absolute truth. But here's the brutal reality. Fear is a liar. And the most dangerous lies it tells are about you. It whispers that you're not ready, that you're not smart enough, talented enough, worthy enough, that if you try, you'll fail, that if you speak, they'll laugh, that if you chase that dream, you'll crash and burn completely. And because fear speaks in the voice of your own mind, you believe it. You accept it as reality, never realizing it's just a story you've repeated so many times it became familiar. Not true, just familiar. Fear thrives in imagination. It takes a single moment of uncertainty and builds an entire movie around it. You don't just worry about a difficult conversation. You watch it collapse in your mind before it begins. You don't just hesitate before something new. You see yourself failing publicly and permanently. You don't just fear rejection. You imagine humiliation, abandonment, and final proof that you never had what it takes. That's how fear wins. Not with truth, but with repetition. The more you rehearse the worst case in your mind, the more your nervous system accepts it as real. And when your brain believes the threat is real, it floods your body with signals to retreat. Heart racing, breath shallow, muscles locked. Suddenly you're not living in the present. You're imprisoned in a future that hasn't even happened. And in that state, even the smallest step forward feels impossible. But here's the breakthrough. If fear is built by repetition, so is confidence. If fear is a story, you can write a better one. One where you speak and you're heard, one where you leap and you land, one where you fail and rise anyway. Because the truth is, the mind cannot distinguish between imagination and memory. If you can visualize defeat, you can visualize victory. If you can rehearse disaster, you can rehearse domination. This is the real battlefield, not out there, but in here. And the moment you stop accepting fear's script and start rewriting it, you take back full control. You don't have to feel brave to act brave. You don't have to feel certain to move forward. You just have to stop handing fear the microphone, because the voice in your head is powerful, but it doesn't always tell the truth. And the biggest lie it tells is that fear is your limit. It isn't. It's your signal. It's the marker that says you're standing at the edge of your growth. What happens next? That's entirely up to you. Fear grows in the dark, in silence, in avoidance. The more you run from it, the larger it grows. The more you try to think your way around it, the louder it becomes, because fear doesn't shrink with time. It shrinks with exposure. And this is where most people go completely wrong. They wait for courage to arrive before they take the leap. They wait for the fear to fade before they take the first step. But courage doesn't come before action. It comes because of action. Imagine standing at the edge of a freezing pool. You can test the water, walk away, return tomorrow, overthink it again, and still feel cold just looking at it. Or you can jump in, shock your system, let your body adjust, and within seconds the fear is gone. Why? Because you experienced what your mind had wildly exaggerated. That's exposure. It's not about being fearless. It's about being willing. Willing to feel the fear and still step forward. Willing to look uncertainty directly in the eye and say, you're not the end, you're the beginning. This is how you kill fear, not through avoidance, through exposure. You lean into what terrifies you. You practice the uncomfortable. You make it familiar. And the more familiar it becomes, the less power it holds. Speak even when your voice trembles. Show up even when your hands are shaking. Launch the idea even when it's imperfect. Ask the question even when you fear the answer. That's the training ground. Because repetition rewires reality. The first time is terrifying. The second time is uncomfortable. The 10th time is routine. And the 100th time, it's freedom. The people you admire most, the speakers, the leaders, the creators, the fighters, they didn't begin brave. They began scared. The only difference is they refused to stay that way. They built tolerance for discomfort. They didn't shelter from the storm. They stepped into it again and again until the thunder could no longer shake them. The fear never fully disappears. But you stop flinching when it speaks. You stop shrinking when it rises, because you've faced it enough times to know it's just a sound. It's just a signal. And it doesn't have the final word. You do. The only way out is through the trembling, through the failure, through the doubt. You walk straight into the storm, not because you're unafraid, but because you know what lies on the other side. If you want to kill fear, you must go directly to its source, your mind, because fear doesn't begin in the world. It begins in your thoughts, in the silent, invisible stories you repeat to yourself, stories of inadequacy, stories of danger, stories of everything that might go wrong, stories that run on a quiet loop, shaping your entire reality without you noticing. And here's the truth. If you don't train your thoughts will train you. Left alone, the mind becomes a space where fear always wins. But you're not here to be ruled. You're here to reclaim your mind, to take back the pen and rewrite the script. And it begins with this: you are not your thoughts. You are the one who observes them. You are the architect, the programmer, the one who decides what gets to stay. So when fear whispers you're not ready, don't accept it. Challenge it. Respond. Says who? When it says you'll fail, answer. Maybe, but I'll learn. Flip the script. Disrupt the pattern. Because every thought is a seed, and whatever you water grows. Water fear, and you harvest hesitation. Water courage, and boldness becomes your natural state. This isn't blind positivity. This is intentional mental conditioning. The same way athletes train their bodies, warriors train their reflexes, and musicians train their fingers. You must train your mind with affirmations that declare your worth, with visualization that locks your focus on the outcome, with repetition that makes greatness feel familiar. Tell yourself what you need to believe until it becomes who you are. I am calm under pressure. I face fear and move anyway. I don't shrink, I expand. These aren't just words, they are commands. And your subconscious is always listening. Don't only think these thoughts, live them. Let your actions reflect your new identity, because your mind learns by watching what you do. When you act boldly, when you move despite the nerves, when you speak despite the trembling, your brain registers, we do hard things now. That's how identity shifts. That's how fear loses control. You're not weak for feeling fear, but you remain weak when you let it lead. Discipline your inner world, and the outer world will begin to bend toward you. Here's the truth no one wants to face. You will not become fearless by waiting to feel brave. You don't kill fear with feelings. You kill fear with discipline. Motivation comes and goes. It's a spark. Fast, loud, exciting, but brief. Discipline is the steady flame. It's the engine behind every fearless life. Because when you train yourself to act not when you feel ready, but when it simply needs to be done, you become something fear cannot touch. Courage isn't a lightning bolt. It's a daily decision, a commitment to show up, to do the hard things, to lean into discomfort again and again, especially when your mind screams for safety. This is what the truly great understand. They don't wait for confidence. They act, and confidence catches up. They don't wait for fear to vanish. They move anyway, and fear learns it has no place there. Discipline silences fear because it removes all negotiation. There's no internal debate. No should I or shouldn't I. It's already been decided. The alarm sounds, you rise. The task is difficult. You do it anyway. The voice of doubt whispers, you walk forward regardless. That's discipline, and that's how the fearless are built. Build rituals that reinforce your mind. Surround yourself with reminders of your vision. Honor your commitments to yourself. One small act of courage every single day, and you will wake up one morning wondering why you ever allowed fear to run the show. Today, we don't just talk about fear, we lay it to rest, because the truth is, fear dies when you stop feeding it, when you stop bowing to it, when you realize it holds no real authority, only the power you have given it, and from this moment forward, you take that power back. No more waiting, no more hesitation. No more shrinking to fit the comfort zones of others or the lies your past whispered to you. You were not built to live small. You were not designed to tiptoe through life. You were made to walk through fire and come out forged. So this is the moment. Not tomorrow, not when you feel prepared. Now. You bury the fear. You silence the doubt. You take the first step, and then another, until you no longer remember what it felt like to be owned by hesitation. And when fear returns, as it always will, you will smile. Because now you know its game. You've studied it, outlasted it, trained past it. Fear doesn't get a vote in your future anymore. Only your vision does. Only your mission does. So stand up, straighten your spine, look fear in the face one final time, say, thank you for the lessons, and then say goodbye, because you are done letting fear decide who you get to become. This is your time. You are fearless because you chose to be.